I'd been staring at the ceiling for hours, replaying every humiliating detail of the afternoon. The fluorescent lights of the conference room, the tight line of Rowan Gallagher's mouth, the single sheet of paper with the word terminated stamped across the top. She'd almost sounded sorry, but not sorry enough to save my job. By 2:57 a.m. insomnia had begun to taste metallic on my tongue, half-empty wine glass sweating on the nightstand, when a fist collided with my apartment door. Once. 3 times. Urgent, uneven, unmistakably drunk. I dragged myself across the creaking floorboards, heart thundering louder than the knocks. Through the peephole, Rowan, hair soaked from lingering rain, mascara blotted under her green eyes like bruises. Her breath fogged the hallway air as she swayed, clutching a bottle of top-shelf tequila by the neck the way a drowning woman grips driftwood. Every rational impulse screeched, "Don't open it." Curiosity twisted the knob anyway. Rowan stumbled inside, heels clattering onto the tile. I shouldn't be here," she slurred, gaze flicking from my bare feet to the box of office relics still unpacked on the couch. But I had nowhere else to go. Not tonight. The scent of citrus-oak tequila mingled with petrichor from her rain-soaked trench. Close up, she was radiant in the way shattered glass catches headlights. Dangerous, dazzling, edged. I offered her the sofa and a glass of water. She refused both, choosing the floor beside the radiator instead, legs folding awkwardly beneath her pencil skirt. Silence stretched, taut as violin string. Then, out of nowhere, a raw laugh. "You probably hate me." "I don't know what I feel," I confessed, lowering myself opposite her. My pajama cotton soaked up the radiator's faint warmth. Hers didn't seem to reach her shivering shoulders. She traced the tequila label with trembling fingers. "They made me do it." "Who's they?" Rowan's eyes lifted, storm green, brimming. "Corporate. The merger. Your name came up on a list." Her voice cracked. "But it was supposed to be temporary furlough, not permanent." "I fought them, Lily. I fought hard." Warm anger prickled. "You fought so hard you handed me a termination letter at lunchtime." She winced like I'd slapped her. "I couldn't tell you the truth in that room. Legal said if I hinted at anything, they'd fire me too." Shaky breath. "And I need this job, or I did." The hallway clock ticked. 3:11 a.m. rain pattered against the fire escape, rhythmic as distant applause. Rowan lifted the bottle in surrender. "Can we share? I'd rather confess than drink alone." Against better judgment, I fetched 2 mismatched shot glasses. Tequila flared down our throats, burning away fragments of the day. With each pour, her shoulders eased. With each swallow, my fury softened into perplexed empathy. Rowan's confession spilled. How the board demanded sacrificial layoffs to impress incoming investors. How she'd argued my metrics were above target. How an executive VP slid a confidential envelope across her desk with a chilling ultimatum: comply or clear out her own office by dusk. "Why me?" I whispered. Her cheeks flushed deeper than tequila could explain. "Because you were the easiest target with the highest potential," she whispered back. "A threat to them. To me, even." He paused, breath hitching. "You keep everyone's eyes on you without trying. It scares people who've never had to work for attention." The radiator hissed, a sleepy dragon exhaling steam. Rowan's hand brushed my knee. "Intentional, electric. I've watched you for months," she murmured. "How you brighten the bullpen, how you laugh when you think no one's listening." Her lashes fluttered. "I didn't come here for forgiveness, Lily. I came because losing you broke something in me I didn't know could break." My pulse hammered. The room felt smaller, oxygen laced with tequila and the impossible possibility shimmering between us. I reached for her shaking fingers. When our hands met, the spark was unmistakable. Warm, forbidden, thrillingly alive. Outside, thunder rolled distant like a judgment withheld. Inside, Rowan's gaze dropped to our entwined hands as if memorizing proof that this moment was real. "Tell me to leave," she whispered. "And I will." But I didn't. I only tightened my grip, curiosity and tenderness flooding through the crack her admission had carved open. The clock ticked 3:24 a.m. The night wasn't over, and neither it seemed were we. 3:27 a.m. The tequila bottle rested between us like a neutral mediator, its amber eye glinting each time lightning flared through the kitchen window. I grabbed a throw blanket from the couch and draped it across Rowan's shoulders. She shivered anyway, part chill, part adrenaline, then scooted closer until our knees touched, heat trading places through thin cotton and damp wool. "Does it always thunder like this in April?" she asked, voice low like an unpracticed secret. "Only when CEOs decide people's fates," I joked, but my smile faltered. Anger still coiled somewhere beneath my ribs, an ember too stubborn to cool. Rowan inhaled sharply. "I can't fix what happened today. Yet." The yet cracked open a fragile door. "Meaning?" Pressed. She studied her shot glass, then me. "Meaning? The investor pitch isn't signed. Tomorrow, well, technically today, they see the final org chart. If I can show that cutting you costs more than saving you, they'll reverse. You're going to fight them again. After they hung you out to dry. I already drafted the numbers on the ride over." She tapped her temple. "But my brain's at 70 proof, so you'll have to help me finish." A half laugh left my mouth before I could stop it. "You fire me at noon and recruit me at 3:30? Rowan tilted her head, curls spilling forward. "Hire, fire, rehire. Maybe I just like finding you." My cheeks warmed. Another bolt of lightning framed her profile, and for a heartbeat she looked carved from marble and stormlight. "Tell me something honest," I said, surprising myself. Rowan took her time, gaze drifting to the rain-lashed window. "When I slid that envelope across the table, I felt like I'd mortgaged a piece of my soul. And when you walked out without looking back, I realized that peace might be non-refundable." Silence. Then she reached for my hand again, steadier this time. "Your turn." Honesty tasted scarier than tequila. "I thought seeing you like this, vulnerable, would feel good. Doesn't. I don't like watching you unravel." Rowan's lips parted. "Then stay. Help me rewind the stitches." She shifted, knees sliding between mine. The blanket slipped, revealing the pale line of her collarbone. My pulse stumbled. Outside, thunder receded, replaced by the hush of relentless rain, the world holding its breath with us. "I shouldn't want this," Rowan whispered, fingertips grazing my jaw. "But every minute since you left the office I've pictured your face instead of the boards. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe that's why I opened the door," I admitted. Her thumb brushed my lower lip, featherlight, a question rather than a claim. I answered by pressing a kiss to the pad of her finger. She inhaled, eyes flickering shut, and the tremor that sailed through her landed in me too. We kissed, slow, tentative, tasting of lime and regret and something new. My living room clock coughed out 3:46 a.m. while her hands mapped the slope of my shoulders with reverence that bordered on apology. When air finally demanded distance, we broke apart millimeters, foreheads touching. "This doesn't erase today," I murmured. "It isn't meant to." Rowan's breath fanned my cheek. "It's meant to claim tomorrow." The blanket cocooned us as we shifted to the couch. She lay back, head on my lap, curls pooling like dark silk. My fingers threaded through them instinctually. Rowan sighed, a sound equal parts relief and exhaustion. "You should sleep," I said. "I've never felt less tired." Her eyes drifted to the unpacked office box on the coffee table. My plant, my mug, a rubber duck from the engineering desk. "They uprooted you." "Will repot me," I quipped. She smiled, sleepy lopsided, then turned serious. "There's one more truth." She swallowed. "The VP who demanded your termination is my ex-fiancé." My spine snapped straight. "Come again." "She and I ended 2 winters ago, but we never untangled professionally. She saw the way I looked at you in meetings, decided to make it hurt." Pieces clicked. The sudden scrutiny, the petty resource pulls on my projects. So firing me was revenge. She weaponized policy. I delivered the blow. And I will spend every day undoing it if you'll let me. I exhaled, shock morphing into combustible anger on her behalf and mine. But Rowan's eyes were earnest, vulnerable as unvarnished wood. The anger diffused into determination. Then let's ruin her spreadsheets. A soft laugh escaped Rowan before her lashes fluttered shut. The rain eased to a hush. Dawn's first hint of blue seeped through blinds, penciling faint stripes across her cheeks. 4:19 a.m. We stayed tangled on the couch, planning between half-kisses. A data-driven rebuttal, a meeting Rowan would call by noon, a list of allies we could trust. My living room felt less like a crime scene, more like a war room disguised by dim lamplight. When Rowan finally drifted to sleep, I watched her chest rise and fall. The power-suit shoulders of earlier traded for a softness I'd never been allowed to see. She looked nothing like the manager who'd signed my fate. She looked like the woman who might rewrite it. I brushed a curl from her forehead, letting gratitude and terror and a bloom of reckless hope tangle in my throat. Outside, the rain slowed to scattered taps, nature's slow applause. A new day was sliding into place. And we had 6 hours to turn my firing into the board's biggest mistake. 6:11 a.m. A violet-gray dawn washed the apartment's brick exterior as I nudged Rowan awake with the steam of fresh coffee. Her lashes fluttered, first confused, then focused on me like I was both sunrise and alarm clock. She stretched, quiet groan, blanket slipping to reveal a constellation of freckles star-spilled along her collarbone I'd never noticed beneath office fluorescence. "Time to save 2 careers," I whispered. 3, she corrected, sitting up. "Yours, mine, and the company's soul." We shared the mug. Tiny burn of caffeine after a night of tequila. 10 minutes later my cramped living room transformed into a pop-up analytics lab. Laptop screens glowed blue, spreadsheets bloomed like battle maps, sticky notes sprouted across the coffee table. Rowan's jacket hung on a chair back, rain-damp and forgotten. She commandeered my hoodie, sleeves pushed past her elbows as she typed. "Margin delta if we lose the Winston contract?" she asked. 5.7% this quarter, 12 by Q4. I replied, fingers flying. My team's redesign cut their churn in half. Lose me, lose the case study. Rowan's eyes gleamed. Exactly what I need. We built the deck. Revenue projections, culture metrics, client endorsements. All the threads corporate brass swore they valued but routinely ignored. With every slide, Rowan's shoulders squared, the manager mask returning. Only this time empathy underpinned the steel. At 7:42 a.m. we paused, tension snapping us back into bodies instead of brains. "Can I borrow your shower?" she asked, voice suddenly small. "I smell like regret and rainfall." I laughed. Down the hall, second door. Our fingers brushed when I handed her a towel. Static fizzed up my arm. She disappeared behind the bathroom door and the pipes squeaked alive. I stared at the closed door, heart thudding, half tempted to follow, half terrified of the pace we'd set. She emerged 20 minutes later in my favorite band tee and a towel-twisted turban of dark curls. My lungs forgot their job. "I hope you don't mind," she said, cheeks pink. "Your shirt was calling me." "It can keep calling," I managed. Rowan stepped closer, steam-warmed skin fragrant with citrus soap. She tugged the hem of the tee, suddenly shy. "I'm scared," she murmured. "Me too." Her hand found mine, guiding it to the curve of her waist. "Then let's be brave together." She kissed me, gentle, morning minted, but the innocence cracked under urgency. I tasted salt where her courage wavered, offered steadiness with my mouth. By the time we parted, oxygen felt like a brand new element. 8:05 a.m. We mailed ourselves to the office inside an Uber, the city rushing by in silver streaks. Rowan drafted a clandestine invite to an emergency alignment at 10 a.m., copying every board member, plus Carmen Lockwood, the ex-fiancée VP, because transparency was sharper than ambush. My stomach rolled at her name, but Rowan squeezed my knee. "She won't win, Lily." 9:47 a.m. The elevator ride to the 24th floor tasted of recycled air and unshed sweat. When the doors parted, I nearly tripped over my own cardboard box, still parked beside reception like a tombstone. Rowan nudged it aside with her heel. "Temporary." We entered Conference B. Glass walls, leather chairs, panoramic skyline. Executives filtered in, Mr. Dow, CFO, Anika Patel, HR, 2 investors with shark smiles, and finally Carmen in crimson power heels, frosted lipstick, expression glacial. She flicked a glance at me, then Rowan, a silent claim of territory. Rowan opened the deck. Thank you for joining on short notice. I'll be concise. She clicked to slide 1. Projected revenue decline sans one recently terminated employee. Murmurs. Slide 2. Client testimonials citing my leadership. Slide 3. An HR turnover heat map Rowan had built at dawn, showing spikes tied to Carmen's cost-cutting mandates. Carmen's jaw twitched. This is highly inappropriate. What's inappropriate, Rowan cut in, voice silk over steel, is letting personal bias override fiduciary duty. My pulse drummed so loudly I almost missed Carmen's controlled smile. Personal bias. That borders on defamation. Rowan didn't flinch. We can debate semantics, or we can study the numbers. The sharks read the slides. One whispered to another. Mr. Dow cleared his throat. Rowan, are you requesting reinstatement? Reinstatement, back pay, and a promotion, she said. Lily Kwan moves to senior product strategist. Effective immediately. Heat flushed my cheeks. Carmen's manicured fingers curled around her pen until her knuckles blanched. Board precedent. Precedent is shields down, Rowan replied. We innovate or we bleed. Anika leaned forward, eyes on me. Ms. Kwan, if offered, would you accept? I swallowed. On one condition. My team gets budget autonomy reinstated. Carmen scoffed. Outrageous. But the tall investor raised a hand. Profitable, he corrected, pointing at the churn reduction slide. And brave. I like brave. He nodded at Mr. Dow. Draft the motion. Rowan's shoulders sagged. Relief, victory, maybe disbelief. Carmen's glare landed on her like a dagger, but Rowan met it with calm fire. Whatever unspoken war raged between them found its public battlefield, and Carmen was losing. 10:18 a.m. signatures inked paths beneath gold lamps. My badge reactivated with a soft beep. Applause fluttered. The sharks shook hands with me. Rowan whispered, Told you, 3 careers. Then Carmen stepped in, voice frosted. You think you've won. You've only set the board's eyes on you. One misstep and they'll feast. Rowan's smile was quiet dynamite. Good thing Lily and I are excellent dancers. Carmen's stilettos clicked away, but the threat lingered like cold perfume. 10:26 a.m. In the empty hallway, Rowan pressed me against a frosted glass panel, trembling with adrenaline. You were perfect, she breathed. Her lips traced my jaw, once, twice, then settled at my ear. Lunch. My office. Door locked. Is that the promotion package? I teased, although my knees felt syrupy. She laughed, unrestrained, young, then kissed me until footsteps echoed and we broke apart, grinning like teenagers in a forbidden stairwell. But as we headed back to gather my box, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You'll wish you'd stayed fired. Carmen. Or someone else threatened by today's rebellion. I showed Rowan. Her smile faded into a look I'd never seen, a mix of protectiveness and fury. Chapter 4, she whispered, starts now. 10:27 a.m. The hallway's fluorescent hum swallowed Rowan's oath. Her thumb flew across her phone, screenshotting the threat before it vanished. I felt the urge to laugh, darkly, nervously, because after all we just won, a text message shouldn't rattle me this much. But the way Rowan's free hand curled around my waist told me it did. Carmen. Yes. Almost certainly, Rowan said, voice crisp again. Still we don't guess. We prove. 11:15 a.m. Digital breadcrumbs. Back in Rowan's office. Door locked, blinds tilted. We tore into metadata. My freshly reactivated badge opened every analytics panel. Rowan's director credentials unlocked the audit logs. Within minutes we traced the burner number to a corporate issue phone requisitioned by finance last quarter, and signed for by Carmen. Rowan's lips curved, not with triumph, but with weary resignation. HR won't handle this quietly, she muttered. She breached code of conduct and intimidation statutes. Let them handle it loudly, I said, tugging her chair closer to mine. We just taught the board to listen. By noon Anika Patel from HR sat opposite Rowan, eyebrow arched at the stack of printed screenshots. You understand disciplinary action could include termination, she warned. Rowan nodded once. I placed a recorder on the desk, pressing red for posterity. Carmen arrived under escort, all ice and inch-wide smiles, until she saw the evidence. Her confidence fractured. A vein pulsed at her temple. 15 tense minutes later, Anika escorted her out through the same door she'd once swept through like royalty. I exhaled only when the elevator swallowed Carmen whole. 2:03 p.m., repairing a kingdom. The rest of the afternoon blurred into her race from my bewildered team. Budget approvals, handshake congratulations. Yet Rowan and I moved like planets locked in private orbit, glancing touches when no one watched, twin smiles when they did. Before heading home I found my cardboard box, now repurposed with a gold post-it. Welcome back, Lily. We saved you a desk. I folded the flaps closed for good. 6:40 p.m., rooftop rewind. Golden hour drenched the city as Rowan texted. Meet me on the roof. No tequila this time, unless you insist. I let the elevator carry me 12 stories higher than my contractual pay grade had ever allowed. The rooftop garden was empty except for Rowan, barefoot on mosaic tiles, holding 2 sparkling water bottles like peace offerings. Wind teased her hair loose from its clip. She searched my face, almost shy now that adrenaline had drained away. Is it strange that today feels longer than my entire career? You rebuilt 2 futures between dawn and lunch. That stretches time. She handed me a bottle, fingers lingering. I'd like to think we rebuilt 1 future together. We clinked glass like children at a fancy party, carbonation popping between us. Lights bloomed across the skyline. The air smelled of rain rinsed clean. I keep replaying the moment you stood up to Carmen, I admitted. You looked unstoppable. Rowan's cheeks pinked. I felt invincible. Because you were in the room. The words hung there, honest and unvarnished. My chest tightened, not with anxiety but with something warmer, heavier. What happens now? Yes. The question was bigger than jobs or HR reports. She stepped closer until our shadows fused. Now I rewrite my life. First chapter. Apologize properly. She cupped my face, thumbs brushing beneath my eyes. I'm sorry for every way I failed you yesterday. I opened my mouth, but she kissed me before the apology could splinter into debate. This kiss wasn't lightning struck like the night before. It was slow sunrise, tender and thorough, a promise rather than a plea. I tasted resolve where regret used to live, and a hint of mint from corporate breath mints. Her hands slid down my arms, locking at my waist. When we parted, both breathing harder, the city's hush felt ceremonial. Second chapter, Rowan whispered, lips grazing my ear. I take you to dinner that doesn't involve vending machine pretzels. He paused. Unless you prefer skipping to dessert. I laughed. A bright sound carried off by wind. I'm starving, but it's not food I'm craving most. 8:12 p.m. Apartment reprise. Rowan's trench coat hit my apartment floor first, followed by my shoes, her borrowed band tee, scattered giggles. Outside, neon taillights streaked puddles. Inside, soft lamplight painted warm gold over skin still humming from daylight heroics. But before clothing surrendered fully, Rowan stilled, palm over my heart. Tell me if this gets too fast. Fast was 3 a.m. tequila, I whispered, guiding her hand beneath my blouse. This is exactly on time. We found the couch again. Battle station turned nest. Rowan's mouth traced yesterday's route with reverence, mapping collarbone, sternum, lingered at the hollow where breath trembles before it confesses. My fingers threaded her loosened curls, tugging gentle directions as sparks arced through my veins. She worshipped each inhale, coaxing sighs that sounded like gratitude and sunrise, and finally, clothes dwindled to parchment memories. Skin met skin. Thunder was replaced by hearts drumming under ribs. She murmured my name like punctuation to every kiss. I answered with hers, a language of lips and low moans teaching the story our bodies already knew. Risk can birth rescue, power can kneel to tenderness, and 2 broken workdays can solder into one fierce night. 10:44 p.m., pillow truths. We tangled beneath the throw blanket, slick with shared warmth, city glow leaking through blinds. Rowan traced lazy circles on my thigh. The board wants me to take Carmen's vacated VP post, she said softly. I would, on one condition. I kissed her fingertips. Name it. That you stand next to me in meetings, not beneath me on an org chart. Partners. Professionally and personally. She hesitated. Is that conflict of interest? Only if we hide it. We don't hide. Rowan's grin was incandescent. She reached over the couch edge, produced a folded page. My formal promotion offer, countersigned and time-stamped minutes after the vote. Already filed, she teased. I skimmed the letter. Salary bump, budget line, optional relocation, I'd refuse. My apartment now held our origin story. At the bottom, in pen, Rowan had added, P.S. Coffee, sunrise tomorrow? Bring your sparkle. Leave your resignation fears. I set the letter aside, sliding atop her with deliberate slowness. You're lucky I like powerful women, I said. She tipped her head back, laughter dissolving into a gasp as my lips found the sensitive hollow behind her ear. Lucky, she echoed, voice breaking on the word. 12:02 a.m. A different 3 a.m. When the clock ticked past midnight, Rowan whispered, Exactly 21 hours since I knocked on your door. I brushed knuckles along her jaw. Feels like forever, feels like 5 minutes. She smiled, the gentle, tired, profoundly happy smile of someone who's lost everything they thought mattered and found something better. I never thanked you, she said. For what? For opening the door. For staying curious instead of slamming it. For risking your pride to help me fight back. He smirked. And for letting me steal your band tee. It looks better on the floor anyway, I murmured, tugging the shirt free a second time. She squealed, then kissed me breathless in a tangle of flannel and laughter. Outside, the city kept spinning. Deals brokered, jobs lost, text threats drafted. But in my living room, before the radiator that hissed like an old friend, 2 women rewrote a corporate cautionary tale into a love story with profit margins of the heart.